Recently, I've been trying to seek wisdom. I'm tired of sitting on my ass and wondering what it looks like and what it is. And I keep hearing people talk about God and what it's like to communicate with God. Some people say that they hear God. Oh, God told me to do this. God said I needed to talk to you. God said I needed to go here and do this and do that. All right, that's one way. Now, some people say they see God or they see things, perhaps in a dream, perhaps in a premonition, in a daydream. I don't know. And some people say that they can just feel it. It's not a words, they don't see anything, they just feel what God wants them to do. Now, I don't know about you. I think the feeling makes the most sense because God isn't a person, right? And for God to be tied down to the English language or whatever language people are hearing God in wouldn't necessarily make much sense. And if God isn't a person and he's a being, what are these people seeing whenever they see God or they see these premonitions? All that is to say is, how long until we actually start following what God wants us to do? How long is it going to be? And how much time are we going to waste? And how many missed opportunities are we going to let sail by? Because I don't think anybody's meant to have anything. I think the opportunities are there. I've learned that recently. The opportunities are there for the taking, and you got to reach out and grab them. You may have heard this. I've heard this saying this year. Look for the rowing boat. Look for the steamboat. Look for the helicopter. And don't turn your back. How many of us are turning our backs right now? Right now, as we speak. Whatever you were doing right before you watched this, was it going towards what God has for us, sitting right in front of us? God's grace, as a lot of us call it? I don't know. Sometimes I wish I knew, but I don't. But isn't that the good thing about God? If we knew exactly what God wanted for us, if we knew exactly what we were supposed to be doing or His plans for us, then they wouldn't really be God's plans, from what I'm learning about God. That would be too simple. So, what I've started to learn and be careful of, these voices, these things that we see, what if we're just making them up? What if we're just making them up so they suit us? I've come to learn that I am one selfish piece of shit. I'll tell you that. And I'm not talking about in the traditional sense of I'm greedy or I try to make sure everything goes in my way. Everything's going to end up good for me. I'm talking about, what do I think about me? What do you think about me? And what do I think you think about me? So when I'm taking actions during the day, the way I dress, the way that I speak, the way that I walk, the way that I talk, am I letting God show me how I should be doing those? When I have to speak with someone to help them, am I letting God lead that or am I leading that? So that way they think a certain way about me. I do this all the time with women. When I become infatuated with somebody, I become a completely different person. The person I think they want me to be, not the person that I am. Now, if you don't know who you are, I feel you. That's a whole separate conversation. But a lot of us at least have an idea of who we are. And I don't know about you, but that's not who I show that other person when I'm trying to win them over. I say, I do, I look the part, I do whatever it takes for them not to know who I really am. And it's things like that with my family, with my job, with my friends, and with those relationships I'm trying to build. I know that's not God. God wouldn't want me to hide. God wouldn't want me to conceal who I really am on a day to day. So where else am I doing that? And where else am I fooling myself to think that that is God? That's the scary part. There's so many different aspects that we could be putting a cloak over and trying to really hide who we are. And it's so hard to see it because it becomes our reality and we become that person. It becomes who we are. So we'll never see it, or it'll be really hard to see. Not that we'll never see it, because those failed relationships, those failed attempts at careers, those failed attempts at getting what we want, they'll start to show. And we'll start wondering why. Why is it that we know this should be working? We don't know. I don't know. I sure as fuck don't know. And the sooner that that becomes my golden rule, I think that is, honesty is an important thing, but to me, that is the golden rule. I don't know. I have no idea what's good. I have no idea what's bad. I'll end it with a story I've been hearing a lot recently from a very, very prominent and amazing orator, speaker. I think he says it comes from the Buddhist. It's a story about an old man, a long time ago, centuries ago, in a Chinese village. An old man, he lives on like a farm, a little piece of land with his son. And the only thing he has to his name is a horse. That is his entire estate, is a singular horse. And one day, the old man wakes up, goes to go check the little area where he keeps the horse, and it's gone. So all the neighbors rush over, and his family rushes over, and they say, "Oh my God, this is so bad. You lost your horse. This is bad. This is terrible." And the old man, he just looks up and he says, "I don't know if it's bad." And all his friends and his neighbors and his family say, how can you not say this is bad? You just lost everything. Your whole entire estate it's gone." And he just says, "I don't know. I don't know if it's bad. I don't know if it's good." So a couple days pass by and the old man wakes up. And he wakes up to his horse running back to their little field with a whole gang of horses. I mean, at least a dozen of them. So then everybody rushes over. "Oh my God, this is amazing. You have so many horses. You're the richest man in the entire town, in the entire little village that we have. This is amazing." He says, I don't know if this is amazing. I don't know if this is good." So the man brings in all these horses, and the next day his son, his only son, is trying to break one of these wild stallions. He gets bucked off of the wild stallion, snaps his leg, and he's a cripple. He cannot walk, he can't help, he can't do anything. And all his neighbors and his friends rush over. "Oh my God, we are so sorry. This is awful. This is terrible. Your only son, he's a cripple. He can't walk. This is bad. This is terrible." And the old man says, "I don't know if this is bad." His friends and his family say, "How can you say that? He's your only son." But he says, "I don't know. I don't know if this is bad." They scoff at him. And the very next day, the Chinese military comes to their little village and rounds up all of the sons to send them off to a war where no one is to survive. But they don't take his son because his leg is broken. So you see, we think we know, but we don't. So stop missing the rowing boats. and the sailboats and the helicopter that God is sending to us because it doesn't look like how we want, how we think it sounds, or how we think it's supposed to look. These messages we ignore over and over. I hope you can take an introspective look at your life and maybe find some of those things, because this has been a big lesson for me, and it's something every day I have to remind myself. I don't know if it's bad, and I don't know if it's good. And thank God, I don't know. Appreciate it.